Who would have imagined that someone somewhere was keeping collections of game consoles right from the time of Magnavox Odyssey? Well, we've got two men on our list. In this video, I'll tell you how these men were able to store these game consoles up until now, what we know about the collector, and more. This is indeed fascinating. Alright guys, stay tuned as we get straight into this video. How were these video game consoles sustained? When we talk about video game consoles, some well-known examples of popular franchises that may have remained with us throughout the years are the PlayStation and Xbox video game systems from Sony and Microsoft. As well as those from Sega and Nintendo, these companies have established themselves as the dominant players in the video game production industry. Yet they never stopped trying to one-up one another, improve the quality of their gaming consoles, and achieve the most significant level of commercial success. The market for consoles is not considerably lower than the market for video games, even though the market for video games has one of the highest caps in the world. Because the gaming system is the medium which these games are played, players are compelled to upgrade their systems whenever new video games are published in the industry. In the same way that most people do, the vast majority of players, when they decide that they no longer have a use for the consoles that they have previously purchased, either give them away or sell them to someone else. Since they already have more recent versions of the goods, there is little to no need to continue to pack the older versions. They either get rid of it, put it up for sale, or trade it for something else, so there will be room for a new one. Although many people make do with their old consoles, on the other hand, a few hold them very dear to their hearts and believe them to be a unique and essential component to their lives. This has been the case with a French console collector who has unwittingly accumulated a significant quantity of the items in question. What do we know about this collector? Players hailing from all corners of the globe are constantly on the lookout for new console updates whenever they become available. They don't hesitate to purchase the most recent version, relegating the older one to the background. Because they are so preoccupied with the more recent one, the vast majority do not even bother to look for it anymore. On the other hand, a small subset of consumers proudly display their wares and hold on to them for years at a time. As we have said earlier, this has been the experience of Kariaure, a French console collector who, to this day, has amassed a collection of over 2,200 different consoles. Because some of the consoles in his collection are hard to come by, it is precisely because of this that the whole thing is so unique. The fact that the collection contains items that were released 50 years ago makes the collection as a whole a vintage one. Kariaure goes so far as to assert that the 200 or 300 items in his collection are the only ones in their respective category, rendering them extinct on this planet. Interestingly, the French collector asserted he never intended to amass such items and that his collection was the result of pure chance. However, he was glad that he did it because it allowed him to become the sole owner of several things that hold significant historical value. How was Kariaure able to collect the entire history of gaming consoles? The French collector encountered several obstacles along his path to amassing his collection. Consequently, he was forced to sell most of the product, resulting in the loss of pure gold. However, Kariaure did not let this deter him from achieving his goal, and he quickly got back on track and resumed collecting them. In 2018, the French gentleman realized one of his lifelong goals when he registered more than 2,000 video game systems in his name. However, he is currently confronted with another obstacle, forcing him to offer his console museum for sale to the general public. The collection can now be purchased for 980,000 euros, almost $1 million for collectors in the US. What do you guys think? How much would you be willing to purchase this console? Let us know in the comment section. Besides Kariaure, who else has a massive collection of game consoles? How well can we believe that the Frenchman is the only one collecting and storing these game consoles? Well, surprisingly, he's not the only one. Let's talk about the Paraguay lawyer who flexed his 45-year collection of game consoles. People save mementos and utilize them as a lens through which they can reflect on the past in the same way as fossils record the history of civilization. Fernandez, a lawyer from Paraguay, has shown off his collection of gaming consoles that has amassed over 45 years. In addition to that, Nintendo is a component. Also, through his collection, he imparts a message to everyone. This is definitely a first for me. I've seen people collecting cars, coins, and even rocks, but how come nobody ever thinks about collecting games? It'd be pretty cool to have a whole room filled with vintage console games. I guess this is what it means to be an inspiration. How many consoles does Hernandez have? Raul Mazeres, an attorney, has amassed a collection of 68 video game consoles and is considered a legend amongst video game fans. In addition, there's a room in the group for games from Atari, Arcade, and Nintendo. 2 different editions of the game Telejogo, produced by Philco in 1977, are among the valuable items that Raul possesses. I can only imagine how much he could get if he decided to sell these consoles. He'll likely become a millionaire. However, I think more things are important than money to a collector. I'm starting to think I should start collecting something. Who knows how much it'll be worth many years from now. If you're still watching, kindly hit the subscribe button for more videos like these. Let's continue. What gaming consoles are in the attorney's office? The attorney presents Ultima Hora with an extensive collection of gaming consoles he has amassed over the period during their meeting. Unexpectedly, the collector owns all 10 different models of PlayStation as well as 4 different Xbox consoles. His collection shines with additions of the Sega Mega Drive from 1988 and previous years, including various versions. 1976 Atari Ultra Pong Doubles, Virtual Boy, and 1977 Portable Blip are other systems in his collection. It's a surprise that the gamer is familiar with the most recent Nintendo releases. He was considering that August 29th was World Gamers Day. Keeping all that in mind, the Hernandez player conveys an important message to the community members. In addition to this, he illustrates how the function of television has shifted over the course of the years by mentioning that, quote, "It was a revolution truly." He draws attention to the fact that the TV was transitioned from being a piece of equipment to an interactive technological paradigm. In addition, he suggests that, quote, "Perhaps the Atari is the one that entered more households. It was not the first, but it was the most symbolic." Before that, there was a device known as the Magnavox, which consists of 2 short wires and a ball that represents a tennis racket. That would make the 1st generation, and we're currently in the 9th generation. The culture of video games is what is actually commemorated on Day of the Video Game or Gamer, rather than just games themselves. How hard is it to maintain such a collection? The progression of video games over the past few years is something Raul considers for a moment before moving on. He implies that, at this point, one only needs a smartphone to indulge in the exciting world of video games. In addition to that, he describes the motivation behind his collection of video game systems. He explains, quote, "Particularly since 1977, I have been collecting. First to avoid throwing away the consoles, and this is why he started collecting in the first place." During the presentation of his collection, he discusses the philosophical underpinnings of his actions. He raises awareness of something that the World Health Organization, WHO, has referred to as a kind of health problem. Most significantly, he emphasizes that collecting games should be treated more like a hobby and less like an addiction. In addition, it raises awareness about the costs of maintenance that are required to keep the consoles operational and secure. Yeah, I think collecting has to be a hobby because maintaining these consoles in good condition has to be pretty tasking. What do you think? Is this idea of collecting and storing old video game consoles a nice one? If yes, how much would you be willing to purchase Kariaure's game consoles? Let us know your opinion in the comments section. We have come to the end of this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. We will be dropping videos soon. Do well to turn on your notification button as you wouldn't want to miss out on our next video. Thank you so much for watching to the end.